Our next very special guest, a Super Bowl champion, Pro Bowl wide receiver. He knows the Giants in and out. He is a Giant on and off of the field. So please help me welcoming to the virtual breakfast table a guy who is as smooth as lobster biscuit as Victor Cruz.
Hey, what up, Victor? Ooh, that's smooth. What's up, everybody? What's going on? It's always great to be on your show, guys. I appreciate it.
We love to see you, of course. We're gonna just dive right into, like Scrooge McDuck, into the Giants in this current roster. You got your quarterback, it's Daniel Jones. You've gotten some receivers, some linemen together to work out this offseason. He's trying to be the leader on the squad as they get set for the season. What are your thoughts on the job that Daniel Jones has done under center in New York as a leader on the field and off?
Well, I think off the field, first and foremost, I think his teammates and everyone has bought in. I think when you ask his teammates about him, when you ask the receiving corps about him, when you ask the tight ends in different position groups, they all got his back. They all love him. He takes care of everyone. He understands what it is to be a quarterback of the New York Football Giants, and that's not an easy feat. And I think having those similar character traits as Eli in terms of his temperament, in terms of the way he treats his players and his teammates, I think that's going a long way for him off the field. On the field, there's been some ups and downs. Obviously, we've seen some highlights of his career, things that he's proud of, things that we can say, oh, wow, this guy has the talent to be what we expect him to be, or why the Giants jumped up to get him. But I think, he still has yet to put that together holistically on the football field. But this year specifically, he's got some weapons to throw to. He's got some people surrounding him on the team, and I know we still have the draft coming up. So I look for the Giants to make a really strong push and be relevant and be, be a team that can compete. I think that's the word that I'm looking for, is competing. And I think when Joe Judge is looking at this football team, he wants them to compete at a high level this year. And I think, spending some money in free agency was the start of that.
Nice. Victor, you got the Patterson raised hat on, which is Patterson, New Jersey. You got the New York Giants shirt on. You are New York and New Jersey. Like, you embody this region. The Jets hold the second overall pick, and as you know, they're going to be taking a quarterback. And the guy everyone's talking about is Zach Wilson. He's going to be the next big name in this market, and your rise to fame was like a comet in this city. Here's this kid, 21 years old, from a town called Draper, Utah. Blonde hair, looks like he's like just a completely fresh face. What would be your advice to a quarterback coming into this market as the number 2 overall pick and tackling New York City?
I think there's some media training is going to be in there if the Jets understand what they're doing and how they want to groom him. So a little bit of media training is there. But I think just holistically, it's just about just be yourself, man. Don't try to be anything out of character. Don't try to be anything that you're not. Just be yourself. This is what got you here. This is what got you to this moment, to this position, to have this opportunity to play the game you love. So just be yourself. Think before you speak. Always understand that your words have deeper ramifications. So think, if your mother wouldn't want you to hear you say certain things, you probably shouldn't say it. So those are just a few things that I learned coming up. And I think he'll be fine. I think being a quarterback in this league, he looks like he's got a little bit of moxie. I didn't catch too many BYU games because they're a little past my bedtime. But I think he's got the moxie. He's got the temperament to be all the things that the Jets need him to be.
It's really well said. And this is very cool, Victor. The Giants and Univision New York recently announced an expansion of their partnership designed to reach Latino fans. One of these initiatives is a Spanish broadcast TV show called Sabados con los New York Giants, meaning Saturdays with the New York Giants. And you are one of the hosts. So felicidades, and tell us about the show and what it means to you to be part of it.
First and foremost, I'm so impressed by your Spanish that I'm literally taking it back right now. I'm thoroughly impressed. But yes, I have partnered with the Giants and Univision. I had to say Univision because my grandmother would kill me if I didn't say it that way. But yes, we've partnered up together to have the first bilingual show between the Giants and Univision so that we can bring you the Giants news both on and off the field in just a fun way, and bridging the gap between the Latino fans and everyone that enjoys the game, as well as American fans and people that don't speak Spanish. So it's a matter of bridging the gap and bringing those two worlds together. And I'm so excited to begin. My co-host Damaris Diaz is incredible, and she's going to teach me so much, and vice versa. So I'm excited for the people to hear this. I'm excited to, kind of understand where this is. And Schrager would love this. I think it all comes full circle. As Schrager knows, I used to watch Univision with my grandmother as a kid. Every Saturday, we watched a plethora of shows on the weekend. And now I'm going to be on Univision every single Saturday. And it's just,
awesome.
the world kind of comes full circle like
dope.
that. And I know my grandmother would be proud.
That's so cool.
That's dope. That's dope. So, Vic, your journey began with you going undrafted. What advice do you have for players who are not selected in the draft this year, but they still got dreams of playing in the NFL, man?
Oh, man, I think, it's hard work, it's dedication. I think the biggest thing, though, if there's one, phrase or quote I could leave you with as an undrafted free agent trying to make a team, is what my college coach told me coming out. He said, when you're on that practice field or when you're even in the film room, make sure you're making one wow play every day. Make sure you always know what you're doing, always know what's being asked of you, always be smart, get in your playbook, understand what's going on. But you got to make that one wow play every day to make them be like, okay, this guy, we need to have him on our team, or we need to take a second look at what we got going on because this guy's got some talent. So just take advantage of your opportunity. Every single thing, whether it's a walkthrough, they ask you a question in the film room, make sure you know what you're doing so that everything else can be easy, and then you can kind of put your best foot forward.
It's well said. Victor Cruz joining the show, waking up with Good Morning Football. We are counting down the days to the draft, 3 weeks away. It's in Cleveland, and there's one wide receiver that everyone is talking about, but not everyone is sold on, which is crazy because the dude won a Heisman. Devonta Smith. A lot of critics are suggesting that he's too small to be successful at the NFL level. How much of a factor do you truly, honestly believe size plays into the success of NFL wideouts?
Well, it doesn't. I mean, it does in certain aspects, right? Obviously, it depends on what you're asking him to do. Are you asking him to line up as a slot receiver and block outside linebackers and be within the trenches? And probably not. You want him to be outside and using that athleticism and using that separation speed to go out there and run his routes and be exactly what you saw him be, at Alabama. So it's something to be said about what you're asking him to do, and D'Angelo knows this, you got to catch him first. You could tackle, you could say all of that about taking hits and all of that, but you got to be able to catch him first. And that route we saw right there, he didn't get touched until about 15, 20 yards down the field. So it just, yes, it matters, but does it matter in the grand scheme of things? Probably not. I mean, you got guys like Deshaun Jackson that have played a lengthy career, and he wasn't the biggest guy. It's all about what you're asking him to do and what team he goes to and how he fits within that scheme.
You think the Giants could use a Devonta Smith pick?
Yes. I don't even have a witty comeback or anything. Yes, we can. Yeah, Jalen Waddle, we'll take him too. Whatever works. Whatever works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Since your retirement, you've obviously gone from studying the playbook, but now you're studying textbooks. Like many of us, you've had to transition from being whatever you were to now at-home teacher during the quarantine. You got a beautiful daughter, Kennedy. How have these last 14 months been for Victor Cruz, the father, and what have you really learned about being a dad?
I learned a lot. One of the biggest things was patience. I think that was the overarching word of this entire quarantine process is patience. Mainly because it's an adjustment period for both you and your child, Kennedy and myself. Just trying to understand each other and get to a routine. I think that was the hardest part, was building that morning routine, even though you're technically home, right? That was the hardest part, was getting her out of bed, because she's like, I can just roll over and turn my laptop on. But I'm just like, no, you have to get up, put something in your stomach, drink something, kind of wake your body up. That's what this is all about. So that was the struggle. And in terms of getting her schoolwork done, that was never really an issue. She's always been a great student, but it's the focus. She's in the middle of the class. I come in and she's playing Roblox, and I got to yell and raise my voice. It's just not the best. It's not the best thing, but we've rounded it out. She's in a good place now.